Today I want to take you into a story that holds a timeless lesson about the art of quiet success and why it's important not to show off. On the surface, it may sound like a simple piece of advice, but if we really break it down, you will see how deeply it connects to human behavior, psychology, and even long-term success in life. Make this meaningful. Let's explore the motivational story at the heart of this idea, and go into the layers of wisdom it contains, followed by some real-life reflections that you can apply immediately in your own journey. Imagine a young man who had recently started working at a company. He was intelligent, hardworking, and had a unique talent for solving problems quickly. Within just a few weeks, he became known in his department for his sharp thinking and innovative ideas. Naturally, this gave him a sense of pride. He began sharing his achievements openly with colleagues, talking about how he managed to solve problems faster than others, how he outperformed his peers, and how the company was lucky to have him. At first, everyone appreciated his energy and admired his skills, but gradually, the constant self-praise began to wear people out. Some colleagues grew envious, some felt irritated, and others began to distance themselves. His managers also noticed that while he was talented, he lacked humility. Over time, instead of being celebrated, he was quietly sidelined. He had unknowingly built a wall between himself and his team, all because he could not resist showing off. Now contrast this with another person in the same company, someone who worked steadily, kept a low profile, and never boasted about their achievements. This individual also solved complex problems and contributed to major projects. But rather than advertising their role, they let the work speak for itself. Over time, colleagues developed deep respect for this person. Managers began to trust them with more responsibilities. And without the need for noise or attention, this quiet worker rose higher in the organization. The difference between the two is striking. One made noise but lost credibility, while the other stayed quiet but gained power. This story captures an essential truth. Success is not just about what you achieve, but also how you present it to the world. Showing off is an act of ego. It might give you short bursts of attention, but it rarely leads to long-term respect or deep trust. On the other hand, practicing the art of quiet success, letting your actions speak louder than your words, creates a foundation that cannot be shaken by jealousy, criticism, or competition. Let's think about why showing off is so tempting in the first place. Psychologically, humans crave recognition. Our brains release dopamine when we receive praise or admiration, and this makes us want more of it. When we achieve something, there's a natural urge to share it, and in moderation, that can be healthy. The problem begins when the sharing turns into constant self-promotion. Instead of focusing on the substance of our work, we become addicted to the spotlight. This weakens character because it creates dependency on external validation rather than internal growth. The art of quiet success, on the other hand, is about shifting your mindset. Instead of needing others to recognize you, you learn to find satisfaction in your own discipline, consistency, and growth. Think about a tree. When it grows, it doesn't announce its progress every single day. It silently takes in water, sunlight, and nutrients, and slowly builds a strong trunk and deep roots. One day it stands tall, unshakable, and offers shade and fruit for others. That is the power of quiet growth. There is also a technical angle to consider here. In any social system, whether it's a workplace, a school, or a community, people evaluate others based not only on skills, but also on attitude. Bragging signals insecurity and arrogance. It triggers social resistance. People may feel threatened, and instead of supporting you, they subconsciously look for ways to bring you down. Quiet success avoids this trap. By staying grounded, you allow others to feel comfortable around you. You make space for genuine collaboration. And in competitive environments, collaboration is often more valuable than individual brilliance. From a practical point of view, mastering quiet success involves three key principles. First is humility. Humility does not mean underestimating yourself. It simply means being grounded in reality, recognizing that while you have strengths, others also bring value. This mindset makes you approachable and trustworthy. Second is patience. Quiet success requires you to trust the process, to believe that consistent work will eventually shine through, even without constant advertisement. Third is focus. When you are not distracted by the need to prove yourself every moment, you can invest your energy into truly mastering your craft. Let's go deeper with an example from sports. Consider two athletes with similar talent. One constantly talks about their achievements, posts flashy videos on social media, and seeks applause. The other focuses on training quietly, analyzing weaknesses, and preparing for the next big challenge. On game day, the one who invested in quiet preparation usually performs better. The show-off may have already created pressure on themselves through their words, while the humble athlete lets performance do the talking. That's the essence of this art. In history, too, many of the greatest thinkers, inventors, and leaders practiced quiet success. They were not constantly broadcasting their greatness. Instead, they were immersed in their work. Nikola Tesla worked tirelessly in silence, focusing on his ideas, while many others chased fame. The results of Tesla's work changed the world, and his contributions are still remembered today. Similarly, spiritual leaders across cultures have often emphasized humility, advising their followers to live simply and let their actions reflect their values. There is also a deeper psychological strength in avoiding the urge to show off. It trains you to detach from ego. Ego is fragile, it constantly needs feeding. When you base your self-worth on recognition, you are at the mercy of others. But when your satisfaction comes from the work itself, you build resilience. This resilience allows you to handle failure better, to adapt faster, and to keep moving forward regardless of applause or criticism. Now let's look at a practical framework for applying this lesson in daily life. Start by practicing intentional silence. The next time you achieve something, resist the immediate urge to announce it. Ask yourself, does this need to be shared, or can I let it speak through results? Second, shift from self-promotion to value creation. Instead of telling people how good you are, focus on delivering outcomes that others naturally notice. Third, develop the habit of listening more than speaking. Quiet success grows in environments where you understand others, build connections, and let relationships deepen through authenticity. Consider also the subtle art of delayed recognition. Sometimes the greatest successes are those that unfold slowly, where others realize your contribution over time. This creates a stronger and longer-lasting impact. Compare that with instant recognition from showing off, which fades quickly like a spark. Quiet success is not about being invisible forever. It's about choosing the right moment for recognition, when your work has matured enough to stand without explanation. There is also a lesson here for leaders and managers. If you want to inspire teams, avoid constantly showcasing your authority or achievements. Instead, lead quietly by example. When people see you working hard, staying calm under pressure, and valuing their contributions, they naturally respect you. That respect is much stronger than fear or forced admiration. Quiet leadership builds loyal teams and sustainable success. The same applies in personal relationships. Nobody enjoys being around someone who constantly shows off. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, empathy, and shared growth. Quiet success in this context means supporting your partner, your friends, or your family without needing to prove your worth all the time. It means letting love and care show through actions, not empty words. Now let's step into the cultural dimension. In many traditions, modesty is considered a virtue. Ancient wisdom across Asia, the Middle East, and even in Western philosophy emphasizes humility as a foundation of character. Why? Because societies have long observed that pride leads to downfall, while humility leads to stability. Stories, fables, and parables in every culture remind us that showing off is a trap and true greatness is quiet, if we bring in a scientific perspective. Research in organizational psychology shows that humble leaders often achieve better long-term results than arrogant ones. Teams led by humble leaders show higher trust, more collaboration, and greater resilience during crises. This validates the story we began with, proving that what seems like a simple moral lesson has real-world evidence behind it. Now think about your own journey. Ask yourself, where am I tempted to show off? Maybe on social media, where people often highlight achievements in a way that feels like competition. Maybe at work, where you want to make sure your boss notices your contribution. Or maybe in personal circles, where you feel the need to prove your worth. Reflect on how this behavior makes you feel and how it affects others, and experiment with quiet success. Try holding back from announcing something and see how it changes your mindset. you may notice a new sense of peace, a freedom from the pressure of being noticed. The beauty of quiet success is that it builds authenticity. When people eventually notice you, it's not because you force their attention, but because your consistency, values, and results spoke louder than words. That kind of recognition is far more powerful than applause gained from showing off.